Greetings, friends. Reformed Stoic back with another video. So we're going to try to cover something relevant and hot. I was telling you guys, the views have been dwindling a little bit on my last few videos. I feel like people aren't exactly engaged with these philosophical topics I've been covering. The real ones are always few and far between. You know what it is, Portal Max hype. But let's talk about OnlyFans models and the church. Now, obviously, because this is YouTube, I'm going to need to be classy with how I discuss this. And, we're coming out with a Moggy Jr. music video. We got merch. I think we need to class it up on this channel a little bit. I want to give off the right idea. And ultimately, I feel like if you read between the lines, that's what I've always aspired to be, is someone who has some uplifting things to say regarding any topic. So anyway, schmoozing in the intro aside, this is actually a bait and switch. It's not. But it kind of is, because it starts with me saying that I wish I had a better experience at church. And that could have been the title. And you guys have been watching me go down this strange kind of Gnostic rabbit hole. And I know there's some people in this kind of pagan occult sphere who are kind of cheering it on. I'm somewhat in between worlds. I feel kind of like Batman at times. It's not the hero that Gotham deserves, but not the one that it needs right now. So I gotta be whatever the world needs me to be. I'm just a philosopher who knows about a lot of different things. But it's my experience in the church is relevant to this situation. These evangelicals are making it clear that women with a past are welcome into the church with open arms. I was someone with a past, and I attended a couple of different churches in my hometown. The first church I went to was before the storm, was before the smear campaign took place. So I had ultimately left that church to become a Catholic before this stuff started happening to me. Basically, I was under attack, my reputation was under attack, and shit was going down in my hometown. So the Baptist church that I went to, I don't really have a lot of bad things to say about it. I did get kind of a fake vibe from some people kind of trying to subtly put me down for not being as successful as their kids, or maybe as I thought I was going to be, or other people thought I was going to be. I felt like I was getting a lot of kind of underhanded comments at that church, and everybody just greets you with big smiles. Oh, Jake, how's it going? I hear you working for your parents. Did you know that my son just got a marine biology degree? It's great to see ya! And it's just kind of wow. You must think I'm pretty stupid to not kind of see where you're coming from there. But that was that. What it really comes down to is when I was going to the Catholic church in Kodiak. Nobody confronted me there. But I do feel like I know for a fact that there were some people glaring at me, and I was under the impression that some members of the congregation, particularly the Fraternal Order branch, the Knights of Columbus, were actually going out of their way to make me uncomfortable. At Mass. Walking back to the car with my mother after the service. So I've had this experience where I was not welcomed in the church. with open arms because of my past. And my past is having a YouTube channel where I speak my mind. So I have experienced not being accepted by the church for basically being a right-winger or being outspoken or having a couple little slip-ups in some clips that people were spreading around. And what I feel like I see and that I've been saying in X discussions, if you really want to get the hot take from me, you can look at what I've been saying on X. I was very heated last night. This is the most dominant trend I have ever seen in my X feed. These stories about women who slept with a lot of men, they go get born again and baptized, and then this one lady in particular, she had a lot of bodies. There's another one that said she didn't remember how many men she had been with. And they're marrying virgin men. And they're giving their testimony, and it's causing a lot of division in Christianity right now. It seems like there are these kind of, from my perspective, kind of emasculated, effeminate men. Is that objective? No, that's just how I feel. I just feel like they're kind of emasculated, effeminate men who probably lean left oftentimes, who are it's not so much whether you're for or against it. I mean, yeah, Jesus saves, redemption from your sin. But it's that they're attacking men who have any problem with it. And then a lot of the men who have a problem with it are very outspoken and very aggressive about it. And I believe I had a couple of tweets myself, or I shared a couple of tweets from other people that were possibly not the classiest, to say the least. But the bulldog that I have in this fight is I have experienced being somewhat shunned, judged, rejected, dirty looks, lack of acceptance. People did not want me at the church in my hometown because of my past. So when we start weighing sins, is it worse to be an OnlyFans model who makes pornography and has had a lot of promiscuous sex, or to be this character on the internet who had a couple of shining moments that were shoved in everybody's face, but overall has commentary about things and a profound love and passion for theology in Christ? Did anyone give me the benefit of the doubt? Did anybody say, okay, this clip doesn't look good, but let's look through his YouTube channel. Oh, here he's talking about Jesus. Here he's talking about faith. Maybe he's trying. Maybe he wants to do better. Maybe we could reach out to him. Maybe we could talk to him. Maybe we can come to an understanding. Not one. Not one. I was contemplating making a video that I wish I had a better experience at church. Because when I moved where I am at now, I went to Mass one time, and it was fine. And there was even a lovely girl there who was wearing a sundress who received the Eucharist on her tongue in the most absolute trad. She was like one of those trad girls that frolics through the fields. It's what all these trad guys want. And she seemed like she was single. And I introduced myself to her. And I thought, I am not compatible with this. I'm not good enough. The people don't want me to be good enough. Politically, I will not be accepted here. Is anything that I've ever done unforgivable in the eyes of Christ Because I'm watching these evangelicals right now just go all out war for these OnlyFans models. But did anyone raise a single pinky for me? Not one. And not only did it lose my attendance at church, but it lost my faith. I want you guys to know this. I want you pastors out there to realize this. That what I observed in the way that people act at church, and the way that people received and judged me at church, it pushed me away from the faith. And you know what? I can already hear it loading up. That's on you, Bucky. That's on you. You're a man. Be a man. Take responsibility. Take accountability. But women can't take any accountability ever, can they? Not once. Not ever. It's political. It's feminist. I've said a lot of things on my channel, sprinkled through live streams and videos. I don't even really remember where I said these things because I am hesitant to say these things because I spent a lot of time as what I'll call a regular Christian who studied theology. I was a strong defender of the faith, of multiple faiths. I was a good theologian. I went to war against atheists. I had serious, heated debates that made atheists think twice about questioning the church. And I can tell you that my experience at church has made me feel like I don't belong, and also like it's not worth trying to belong. Now, before I forget, what I was trying to say is that I wanted to say, I've said it in tweets before, that it was ultimately feminism. It was ultimately like political leftist feminism that was really, like, theologically, it was hell. I started not being able to reconcile the all-loving God putting people in infinite torture for small things, for objectively small things. Theologically, it was that. But then politically, like just in practice, materially, it was politics in the church. I was hated and judged for being a right-winger, having a past. Okay, these women have a past and I have a past. I would say there's a pretty strong argument theologically for these women that these preachers are just bending over backwards to defend. These women have a way worse past than I do. And my worst moments come from feeling dejected, come from feeling unloved, come from feeling isolated. I can just tell you that where I was at in my hometown, it would have meant the world to me. Anybody would have reached out to me. If anybody in the church would have pulled me aside and said, look, man, I see what's going on. And I want to be there. Because people like you need to know that Jesus is there for you too. And the church is there for you too. But I was not wanted. I felt judgment from the priest. I could tell that the priest didn't want me there. The Knights of Columbus definitely didn't want me there. You know what I noticed? I paid close attention to the Knights of Columbus. They never took the Eucharist. One of them in particular. He never took the Eucharist at Mass. He was like some sort of a hired gun. He was like some sort of a private security guard. Big, tall, imposing military guy sat in the back. He never took the Eucharist. He's like undercover in the church. And then there was one day that there was this military men wearing their military uniforms at church. And I just kind of thought, okay, we get it. Yeah, you served. Thank you. No, I respect the military, but at Mass? You really need to dress that way at Mass? I started to see things. And maybe it was my hometown. And this is what I'm saying, is like, The video could have been, I wish I had a better experience at church. Because I'll pull a Band-Aid. I think my hometown is fucked. I think I come from a horrible place. But that aside, just giving my 2 cents here, and I'll just leave it at that, because it's all been said. I understand theologically that there is a path to redemption for these women. But doors were slammed in my face. I was actually subtly harassed in the church with glares and people doing strange things during Mass that, oh, if I call it out, then I have schizophrenia. So I won't go into it. I had the door slammed in my face. And I saw things going at the church. I picked up on things like, wow, every single priest in my town is former military. Interesting. So the military has a monopoly on the churches in my town. Well, it's pretty convenient considering we have the biggest Coast Guard base in the United States. I wonder who they serve first, God or the 501c3? I started to see things. I started to experience things firsthand. I was very internet-based and very Bible and study-based, and my arguments came from that, and I did very well on that. But then I went into the churches, and I met the people in there, and I started to notice, atheists have said this kind of stuff. Gnostics have said this kind of stuff. Pagans have said this kind of stuff. And I'm witnessing it firsthand. Nobody in this church loves me. Nobody wants me to be redeemed. You don't want to see a big testimony where it's like, one time I had a bad moment on the internet, but then people showed me love. But then people showed me forgiveness. Then people showed me understanding. Well, a lot of time has passed, guys. And where am I at now? It's a mistake for most men to get married. And I know that theologically, it's like, well, if you want to have any experience with women, you have to get married. Basically, guys, the theological loophole is like, well, if these women can do OnlyFans and catch bodies and then just have it all washed away and everybody gives them a round of applause, well then, while I'm living this really estranged, individuated life, I'm very deep into this life I'm living. It's not easy. I'll just be honest with you. While I'm living the way that I'm living, I might try to impress a couple of women and have a couple of secular, sexual, situationship type of experience romances. Why? Because I'm not good enough to get married, and I don't want to do the work to impress everybody in the congregation who spit in my face. I don't want to kiss the ring of boomers. I don't want to kiss the ring of the military men in disguise as priests who serve at the altar of the state through the 501c3 tax business. Anybody would have showed me any understanding, any level of acceptance, there's a very good chance that I wouldn't have gone down this path. But you know what? I think I'm glad. Because this path isn't rebellion. This isn't bending over backwards to believe something that I think is untrue. This is reality. Church is a business, and the redemption of OnlyFans models is an advertisement for a retirement plan for women who sleep around in their 20s, that you can be forgiven at any moment and find you a nice God-fearing virgin man who will gladly accept the hand job every 2 weeks with the lights off. I want to empower you guys. I want my followers to be empowered. Doesn't matter if you were a dork or a nerd or you didn't have a lot of friends, or you're not tall, or you weren't accepted. I wasn't accepted. I want people to remember that when you see what happens. And I don't know what's going to happen. I could look like an idiot for saying that. But I think things are going to happen. I put my faith in a place because your faith is an investment. I'm investing my faith in better places now. Still in Jesus Christ. But Jesus Christ told you to leave the world behind. I think the 501c3 tax businesses advertising to accept all the reformed OnlyFans models are places of the world filled with worldly people who cherry pick their acceptance of people with a past based off of their politics. I was not accepted for my past. And you have lost a very powerful ally because of that. God bless you, my friends. I will see you for the next one.